Aha, my voice is back. Good morning and welcome to my Facebook live stream. My name is Jimmy Cheng. I'm a professional photographer, filmmaker, and an Olympus ambassador. So if you're new to my live stream, this is all about photography, filmmaking, creative stuff, you know. If you want to get creative, get better in your game, this is the right place. Well, first of all, I'm not going to talk about too much about creative stuff. I've done a couple of videos last week, like live stream last week. So today, I just want to air out some of my thoughts, some of my frustrations towards some of the news that I have read. Not news, actually. I would say rumors or unconfirmed news, let's put it that way. And also some videos being made on the latest announcement from Olympus, of course. You all heard about it, the big Olympus is sold to JIP and that kind of thing since last Wednesday. So it is a bit frustrating for me that I keep hearing these things, kind of distracting in a way, and I'm trying to work it, and then suddenly I keep, the thing is, I have to do a lot of research for my upcoming videos and things like that, so I will actually constantly looking at other people's work, and also just generally browsing, looking at what sort of things are out there at the moment, the latest news and things. But what is keep coming up is this Olympus news. It's right every single day. Every time I turn on the YouTube, turn on my news page, because I guess it's because all these Google tracking and things like that. You just know what I've been looking at previously, so they just keep pumping up. And but the problem is, I don't mind that. The problem is, every single thing that I saw and read, even briefly, is just basically a few words. Olympus is dead. Right, okay. I get it. I don't know why you keep thinking about it. First of all, I just need to clarify a few things. That Olympus isn't dead. This is first of all. If you think it's dead, means that the business is gone, like literally gone and disappear from the face of the earth, right? But it isn't the case. Really, it isn't the case. It hasn't gone into administration. Even if it's gone into administration, you still need, a process. You need time to dissolve and things like that, yeah? But it isn't the case. But the people have already presumed it's gone. And secondly, is the general negativities towards Micro Four Thirds as a platform, or people who are using Micro Four Thirds as a creative, as a photographer. There are plenty of us out there using the Micro Four Thirds gears. I'm not suggesting anything only because I'm an ambassador for Olympus or Micro Four Thirds users. And like I said so many times, if you guys have been following me long enough, you probably know that I came from a full frame background. I use many other gears. I still use other gears. I still use different formats to do whatever I need to do my job, right? So there is no limit on me on exclusive 100% using Micro Four Thirds. I do use it like 99.9% of the time because it just does everything that I need him to do. But there are cases like drone, for instance. I need to some aerial shot. I need to shot up the thing up there, up in the sky, or I have to use some tiny little GoPro camera to put in a little corner somewhere to film something like B-roll and C-rolls. These sort of things I'm telling you, as a creative, we have to utilize them as tools. Yeah, and but I think it's a general consensus that now people are so negative, and I guess negative news sells, and you all agree, right? That people are just purely reading on negative stuff. Oh, this is dead now. Oh, that is going away. Oh, look at them. The financial figures in the red is really, really cool, right? That's how I feel at the moment. Yeah. Why can't people just be more positive and just like focus on what they can create and what's good things about each company do, instead of just keep pointing the fingers and like having all these arrows and bullets and pointing at anyone who does worse than somebody else. And but anyway, this is something that I just feel a little bit frustrated. That's why I used this morning as an opportunity to kind of talk a little bit about it. And I did write some notes because there is one particular video that I saw yesterday. In fact, you've probably seen the title already. It's from Toneh, yeah. Yeah, you all heard about Toneh, yeah? And okay, before I go on to it, let's say some hi to my regulars, and which is all good. Roman, and good morning Hart, good morning Ralph, Mark, Kevin, and Robin, Remco, Brad, yeah, good morning all. I'm pretty sure some other was going to join us later, so that's cool. It's good to see regular people here, and I see some news already, Roman. Thank you for sending some more news to me, and so I have read some of them already. I know there's this little bold guy talking a little bit. Olympus is dead about like 5,000 times in his video, and also that he's one of those Olympus hater, you know. But anyway, like I said, I don't like to go very direct to any individuals, but. Let's go back to the Toneh videos I saw yesterday. Okay, good morning, Murat. Good morning. Good morning, Ian Monroe. Oh, wow, Ian is here. Ian is in the house. How's that? That's good, yeah? Ian is a phenomenal photographer, by the way. So you haven't seen his work. Oh, it's cool. His stuff is genuinely creative. Like, look, this guy is creative. And then if you really want to learn something about how to utilize a camera as a tool to create artwork, then this is the guy to you know, to be inspired of. Yeah, you should really go in there and check out his work, and it's really, really awesome. But anyway, Toneh. Let's talk about Toneh, right? Okay. I rarely go so direct to a particular video, especially a particular individual. And really, you know, if you see my previous streams, you know, people might have taken the wrong idea because nobody ever watched my whole stream, 2 hours long. Never really people kind of watched enough of my videos to understand who I am as a person. I am quite neutral, even though I represent Olympus, I represent some other brands, but I never ever kind of talk down on any other brands because I've used their brands before. I mean, I've used Canon, like I said, you know, I use other brands, so I never trying to be negative to anybody else. You know, I always said that they're innovators, they are pushing the boundaries and this and that. You know, everybody deserves a place in the photographic industry, right? I still remember the old days when you used to pop down to your local camera store. You know, like the experience of going into the camera store when I was younger is amazing, right? You know, especially into photography, into cameras. You go into these stores, you open up the eyes and see the shelves packed full of different cameras from different brands. You know, it's cool. You feel good, right? You really do feel good, and you feel, you know, curious about all these, you know, different cameras, different technologies and things. You know, it's cool. Even though like you may be a nerd, yeah. This is something I'm going to come into in a minute. And but the problem now is that I think people just want to see one brand on the shelf, and I don't know. I mean, I'm telling you that is the truth. Yeah, there are a couple of comments now. I mean, since I last streamed about Olympus last Wednesday, there are a couple of comments. Like, I'm pretty sure they are fanboy of some of the brands, and so one. Let me just use one comment as an example. Yeah, I forgot the gentleman's name. I'm pretty sure you can find it in my video comments. Is that oh, Olympus is dead now. Next is going to be Canon. And then next will be Fuji, and then it will be Nikon, and then it will be Canon. The only thing that will survive is Sony. Well, as you can clearly tell, this is a Sony fanboy talking. But like, I'm not like sure about you. Yeah, would you like to see just one brand on the shelf? So like, you talk about like democracy in our modern society, about the world that we're living in now. You talk about like, oh, we should be free. You know, we should be this and that. You know, and if you only have one camera, you're letting one camera to dictate what technology you should be using forever. Would you like that though? And I'm not entirely sure about that. You know, I like to see competitions. I like to see different brands pushing different envelopes. You know, and pushing technologies like forward in general. And I don't like to, you know, I'm an anti-dictatorship guy. You know, I really don't like that sort of thing. And having just one corporation dominating the whole world is just not the way I see the world. And you know, that's why I always favor you know, competitions. You know, I like competitions. I don't mind reviewers on YouTube or other influencers comparing different cameras and technologies. I don't mind that at all. You know, if one thing does perform poorly compared to the other, that's fair. You know, they're looking at technology side by side. This is what I call unbiased comparison. But if you are starting to talk about a particular format and push it to the death, yeah, and then I don't think that is the right way to do it. Okay, and Thanks, Ian. And yeah, like I mentioned, guys, if you want to follow him, this guy is a gentleman. Yeah, he's a really really cool creative guy here. Look at his portrait. His portrait is way better than my portrait, right? And then okay, okay. And let's see what's that Ian said here. The more options we have to get creative. Oh, let me just get off my social here. Things the better we choose in life, and limited is our novel idea. Yeah, that's correct. Right, okay, let's go back to the Toneh stuff. Right, the reason I said that is because in his video, his latest video about Olympus, he said that he was only a messenger when he first talked about Michael Four Third is dead 2 years ago. Right, you know that video we received so many negatives, and so many Michael Four Third users in the world were complaining about what he was talking about. Of course, he has his own supporters and his other collaborators and other YouTubers that are basically worship them as God. And frankly, I did say that in my last couple of streams that I used to watch Toneh and Chelsea. I think they're really cool individuals. You know, they built the channel up from ground up, and they have a lot. I have a lot of respect to them as a person. And but it really is the last couple of years is turning into a point that I don't think is already genuine. But anyway, let's get back to it. He said he was a messenger, and he's only telling consumer, giving them educated advice about the whole Michael Four Third format is going to disappear from the world in the next few years. First of all, I want to argue this point, is that he keeps saying that he's only a passenger and don't shoot the passenger. And in his latest video, he mentioned it about 10 times. And then, because he probably realized how many sticks he's been given, you know, like, and he's been talking about these things. And so he's trying to realize it and trying to rescue his message. He keeps saying that he's a messenger. But to me, is so if he's a messenger, who initiated the news? Right, let's think about it. So who gave him the news and talked about the Michael Four Third is going to be going soon? I don't know. You know, tell me, Toneh, which person give you the news? So you're the messenger. So someone must have originated it. You know, if I'm being honest, can you tell me who that particular individual or where your source is about Michael Four Third is dead? If you're purely just using a prediction, you know, you are still the originator. You're not really the messenger. You are telling other people exactly how you feel, which is fine. You know, like I said, I support freedom of speech. You have your opinion, that's perfectly okay. But don't use that messenger thing to get away with the problem that you generated. And then also, I don't think it's not partly, it's not 100% on Toneh. That's fair and square. You know, the whole camera market is in decline. There's no doubt about it. And if you look at all the different companies, I'm not joking. If you really dig deep into all the figures, like, I'm telling you now, it's very easy to find, yeah, because all these are publicly trading companies. You can go into Google, type in financial results from Nikon, Fuji, Canon. You can get all of them out, yeah. Have a look at them. Olympus actually isn't doing too bad compared to the others, right? Okay, there are other companies that are doing bad or worse than Olympus. You know, at least Olympus is admitting and also doing some moves and trying to rescue and maybe have a chance to rejuvenate the brand, and also making some moves trying to preserve the brand and also technologies. And now this is one big thing here. And also, like I have to reiterate again, Olympus is not dead. Yeah, it's not gone away from the face of the earth, hasn't disappeared. And I'm not trying to give you some confidence about Olympus. I'm not here to try to give you that at all. This is down to Olympus and GIP. And I'm an ambassador, but I have no right to do that. It's up to Olympus, up to GIP to announce whatever they need to announce to reassure the customers, and equally, including myself, to feel confident about the future. And I'm here just to tell you about how I feel about it as a individual, as a creative, as a photographer and filmmaker, to do my job properly. And when I'm doing research, I see these news, I just think it's becoming nonsense now. So that's one thing. So secondly, and he actually makes suggestions. Basically, he's talking about the roadmap, yeah, and he's suggesting that Olympus is going to stop making cameras in the very near futures. Well, as far as I know, that isn't the case. And as you've already seen, that the agreement is being discussed at the moment is that they're going to continue the R&D, they're going to continue releasing everything that they already have being researched and developed, and also on the roadmap for releases. Of course, I mean, I have information about certain things that I am not allowed to talk about or to share, but I'm very confident about the next a couple of years minimum, so I'm not that concerned about that. But like I said, who can actually foresee the future, right? You know, no one knows what's going to happen in 2022, 23, whatever, 25. Who knows? You know, really nobody knows at the moment. And not just Olympus. It could be Nikon, could be Canon, could be Fuji, could be anybody else. Really, no one really knows. So I don't think we have to be too bogged down with the ideas that that the Olympus is sold the imaging division. You know, they sold it to someone else, yeah? Not that they closed it. So I have to say that again, because people seem to be thinking about Olympus is gone now, it's almost disappeared. That is not the case yet. It's sold to a new owner. And in fact, there's still discussion about, you know, how they're going to operate the new this new particular division or this new company, because it's now an independent, yeah? It's now an independent company. It's no longer an arm of Olympus Corporation. But there are a lot of things that still tied to Olympus, though. Don't forget that the imaging division are still doing a lot of R&D, and also the imaging and lenses design for the Olympus medical equipment side, yeah, the endoscope and stuff like that. They're still designing them for them, so there's still a tie there, yeah. And so the new company could still be receiving funds from Olympus as a client to continue doing the R&D, because they have the infrastructures there, they have all the design and engineers are developing things for them. So because the imaging division, like I said many times, that they are the R&D department for the Olympus Corporation. The photography just kind of like their passion, pastime thing. Of course, when you're making some heavy losses, then they have to think about how they're going to run it. But in a way, I actually think that it's quite positive in a way that the new company could provide a new direction for Olympus. Undoubtedly, you know, I'm pretty certain that there will be some sort of restructuring going on in the next few months or maybe a year to trying to, you know, refocus on certain things. And I'm pretty sure some of you may agree, already have opinions about what Olympus should do in the future to make sure that, you know, they stay competitive or stay ahead of the game, things like that. We all have. I'm pretty sure they have some idea by now, and also GIP probably see the potential of the existing technology and also what they can propel the brand forward. Like I said, they are an investment arm company, in a hedge fund company. They need to make money, like any investors. If they buy something, they need to make money, right? They can't just simply break it down and sell parts, yeah, unless they get it for dirt cheap. Yeah, I don't think Olympus is selling it for cheap either. And so you just have to kind of weigh out, you know, and like I said, these are purely my personal opinion, my speculations, nothing to do with Olympus here. And today I'm just speaking out of my heart. And after reading all this nonsense and continuous bombardment from all these negative YouTubers and reviewers out there talking about rubbish, basically. I'm not suggesting they are bad people. It's just that they are wrongly representing the news, and they continue spiraling it to a level that I think is not only damaging to Olympus users or Micro Four Thirds users, but in the photographic industry in general. And frankly, if any of you, I'm talking to all of you now, if you're listening or anything like that, if any of you know better than Olympus and JIP, you might as well run the company. And why you keep like saying in a way that you kind of know them so well, know the situation, you kind of know who JIP is, you kind of know exactly what they are going to do, just purely based on some articles you read online. And then this is, I believe, is so wrong. And how could news spread like these days? And this is exactly what we're facing these days online, on the internet, you know, whether it's going to be Facebook, whether it be any other new outlets, yeah? It's these viral issues, it's all these fake news, and you know, when you have one original fake news come out, it's easily spread into 10 different versions of fake news, and you spiral up very quickly. And how people spread around these things is completely beyond me. But then, but it tends to sell, yeah, right? You see how many people are watching all these videos, how many people have been tuning in to watch this video, and then they get angry about it. I kind of got into it a little bit, so I apologize if I feel a little bit like that as well. But I tend not to do that. I rarely, like I said, I rarely express myself like this in public. And in fact, you probably know me by now. I'm a fairly calm person. Yeah, I rarely get into really sort of frustrated mode and trying to talk down on things like that. And but I just need to say, and not just Olympus though, but in general, I hate people just spreading wrong news and talking about things that is complete. First of all, unproven. No actual solid evidence. Who actually originated that news? No one knows. Seriously, they never declare that. Who said that? They just reported it out from nowhere. And yeah, this is something is still beyond me. So let's see how many of you are talking and listening to me so far. And cool, excellent stuff. Right, quite a few of you are talking. That's good. So, Ivan here. So let's see. He's got a big comment here. Let's see. I can bring it up here. Hi, I've decided to go micro four thirds instead of full frame because actually that seemed the right choice for me as a street photography enthusiast. Even after just a couple of days before the news and so. But do you think it was a wise decision in order to keep improving my growth as a photographer? Fingers crossed for Olympus. And well, like I said, to be honest, Ivan, yeah, like you said already, camera is just a tool. I use many tools throughout my career since I started photography. As a matter of fact, I mean, I tend to stick with a brand for quite a number of years unless something drastic happened. I used to use Canon. I started with Canon. I've been Canon Pro for so many years. I'm known in the Canon world for a little bit, and then I moved on to Leica and for a few years. It just by chance really. Then after that, I just moved straight to micro four thirds. So like my 20 years in photography, I only had used kind of mainly 3 brands. I mean, I have other gears, of course, but mainly for a lot of my work, the bulk of my work, I use 3 brands. So every time I move or change, it's because of specific reason. I did find the full frame was just way too heavy for me, and it just. I mean, what I do now is essentially what I do exactly the same with the Canon stuff, and I don't see any disadvantage whatsoever. And people keep arguing about it, and I keep telling you that you've seen my work, you've seen my website, yeah, you've seen all my stuff. They are from micro four thirds. I don't see any difference. In fact, it's actually better in some cases compared to what I used to use with Canon. And but I changed because I found a better system for my needs. Yeah, remember, judge it by your own self. What sort of thing you need the camera to perform in your hand, more than megapixel, more than brands and things like that. You just have to weigh it out. In terms of growing wise, I'm pretty sure that in a few years' time, technology has moved on. You never know. There might only be just Sony left by the end of it. So I wouldn't worry too much, to be honest. Just keep shooting, keep creating. That would be my advice to you. And if you're really happy about EM5 Mark III, which I love personally for all my vloggings and stuff like that, and I use Pen F as a street tool, but I love these sort of cameras, and I just like the form factor. And this is something that you really enjoy using. Keep using it. Use it until it dies and change. That's it's who cares at the time. You probably Olympus might actually invent a Pen F too. You never know. But yep, don't worry about it too much. I would say to say stay focused, keep creating. That will be the best thing to do. And I would like to have all the companies mount so many different mounts, and in case you could use the lenses with different cameras. That wouldn't be the ideal, right? And but that's why they formed this alliance, the mount alliance, especially now the Leica Sigma and Panasonic for the L mount for full frame format, and the micro four thirds. But the rest is still different mounts and different systems. But I do like the idea of sharing mounts because you can use other lenses and such. Yeah, it may not be a bad idea. You never know. And the micro four thirds, I don't think it's going anywhere because it really is a lovely format. And despite what Toneh is saying, I personally believe every format deserves its place. Especially for, like I mentioned already, some reasons that is so good about micro four thirds is the form factor. It allows a lot of people who are previously not been able to enjoy photography now be able to use, because of the lighter weight and smaller sizes, the image stabilization, all the little gadgets like computation photography that allows you to capture something you previously need years and years of experience. So now you can becoming more creative just because you can with that particular camera. So that is something that I would keep stressing, that each format is there have their own good and bad. And what I'm hearing these days is that these so-called people who know about photography, people who know about cameras and technologies, the guru, the nerds, yeah, are believing that full frame is the god format, yeah, and they don't really think about anything other than full frame. APS-C, micro four thirds, oh, medium format, what? They don't know. They're so blind. They just really one direction. You know, one of these race horses, they have these like blinds on their eyes. That's what they see. They just see what is in front of them. They don't see on the side. They don't even see behind them. And then anyway. Burana, good afternoon. Are you a nerd? Right. Yeah, the reason I said that, because apparently, based on what Toneh and Chelsea said, actually not Toneh, not Chelsea, Toneh is saying that he believed people who are enjoying the process of creating photographs wouldn't be distracted by his comments. That's true. That's part of me. That's nice. But anybody else who listen to his Micro Four Thirds is dead are usually the nerds. So he basically talk about his 1.2 million subscribers are all nerds, basically. And also he's talking, so none of them are photographers. You know, I have to say that. You know, they like technology, they like gadgets, they like the latest and the best. And the people who keep switching system because the other one is better. And he's talking about those people. And I'm glad that, you know, a lot of people that I know of, you know, especially some of you I know that are really genuine creators. You like photography, you enjoy creating photograph because you are into photography, not so much about you know, technologies like gadget gears and things, you know. And this is something that he was suggesting, that everybody who listen to him are basically nerds. And that's, in a way, he's trying to rescue what he said, you know, 2 years ago, and consistent saying about Micro Four Thirds. And he now kind of realized that what he can do to, you know, in the photography world, when you become an influencer, and everything you said will become some sort of responsibility. You know, you have to bear that. You know, you have to bear whatever you said. Whether it's going to say it right or say it wrong is something, you know, it's something to be decided in the later date. But I still prefer in the older day when he was still just the reviewers. Then now he's starting to be the rumor generators, and I suspect, you know, like I lost trust in him, and that's personal. You know, I do lose trust in him. I probably believe he's still a nice person, and from the way he conducts his videos these days is slightly outside of my comfort zone now, and I still prefer looking at his older videos, and even some other reviews, DP reviews still pretty genuine, and so I still like watching them. And but a lot of the places now have becoming so one-sided, whether they are sponsored by other brands. I'm not entirely sure. I have nowhere for me to judge them. But there are no more kind of unbiased reviews now. There was no more kind of a good way of looking at reviews, and they are so blindly looking at certain things to promote certain brand. It's really hard to believe how the world has become in over the last few years. And to be quite frank, something that I would suggest that if you really want to improve your photography, okay, when you come to buying decision, you may want to go and check out some of the reviews and things like that. But a lot of the cases, I would like to shut myself down from the rumor mills in a way. If I know something, I hope it's better coming from official sources. You know, like let's say in the 30th of September, that's the day when JIP and Olympus going to be signing the contract, finalize all the details, and we know exactly where we're heading in terms of Olympus world. Hopefully by then we'll have a clearer pictures about everything, and let's hope for the best. So that's all I can say. But before that, just please stop these things now. Now, I've seen people making part 2, part 3, part 4 about the end of Olympus. How much time can they milk it? You know, I'm not here to buy new subscribers, not buy new followers or trying to get view counts up. I'm just here to talk about how I feel about photography, and in general is the decline, not only in the market, but I feel that I'm feeling a bit frustrated, also sad in the same way that how blind photographers these days are, and you know, are they really in here for the gears, or are they actually in here for photography? And I really want to see genuine creatives there, you know, continue focusing what they can capture, And I'm starting to see now, you know, the last few days now, people are starting to get over it and starting creating photographs, which is good. This is good news. I like to see that, and I'm hoping to see more people getting back to photography. I mean, talk about like, more specifically the Micro Four Thirds photographers and Olympus people, and so now they can get back to it and start creating again. And yeah, F it, you know, like forget about all this negative stuff. Just keep creating. This is what you are. You know, it's supposed to be there creating stuff. And okay, oh, Chris Pearson, hello there. Good to see you here. The bold guy started the discussion. And whatever happens, Ivan, you have a great camera and huge range of lenses. Indeed, indeed, indeed. Okay, right. So there you go. By the way, this will be my last time I talk about this stuff. Hopefully that tomorrow I'm going to start going back to creating stuff. And also Wednesday I'm going to talk a little bit about that, because I know some of my YouTube followers are not on Facebook, so I'm going to reiterate something just to clarify a few things on Wednesday live and on my YouTube. So it's more to do with just clarify my situations here and me as a person, as a creator, as a photographer, more than an Olympus guy. So it just really gets me. Listen, I just wanted to stop and just people get real, just like back into the real world, do something real, right, with your camera. And Mark, say drop down, give me 25. I will do that later. By the way, I'm doing a 25 push-up per day challenge for raising the mental illness awareness. So this is all good thing, right? You know, we have a life. You know, why don't we just do something? You know, I have a family. I'll do something with my family, my kids. You know, and I know, you know, my YouTube hasn't been performing so well because because the lockdown, kids are home full time, and that's what I've been doing with them. You know, I have no time to do videos, and it is hard work. I'm telling you, it is really, really hard work. Just wonder how long the cameras survive with moderate use, and if you can get battery for a few years. Just when you say that, Roman, I want to show you something. Where is it? Right here. I have this here. This is the Canon Pro 1. Yes, this thing is about 20 years old. Still working, still fine, still shoot photos, no problem with that. I still have battery for it. You can still get battery for that matter, whether it's be third party or original. And this thing still switch on. Look at that. Look at that. It's still there. No problem. So the thing is, camera will perform, camera will continue to function until, you know, it reaches the end of life, such as shutters, actuation. I mean, those are mechanical stuff. And but most likely, if you keep using it, I don't see how it will become obsolete. And people always think that way, and which is actually quite sad. Oops. And then I just find it a little bit annoying that the people always think that you know, after 2 years the company will completely go. As a pro, yes, probably. You know, like myself, I keep telling you whenever I upgrade my cameras, because it's kind of reaching the end of life. And unfortunately, you know, I shoot about like 200,000 shots a year, and is unsurprisingly, you know, the shutter will go eventually. And as a business, I need a new equipment replacement so I can continue the reliability issues. You know, this is something I have to do as a professional. But when I was an amateur, before I turned professional, I used my camera for 6-7 years without even having any problem. You know, this is something that you don't need to upgrade so often. It is, you know, I guess this is probably Sony's fault. You know, they keep releasing cameras, new models every like 6 months. That didn't help. They shortened all the product cycles so quickly. But in general, I don't think you should worry about the longevity of any particular equipment. Lenses would last even longer, to be quite frank, and the camera easily 10-15 years you can still use it. You see people are still using like the original EOS 5D Mark 1. Yeah, that's 2005 camera. This is 15 years old. So this is something you know, kind of you have to bear in mind. Like Mark what just said here, Toneh is still going. Battery is not a problem. So like this is something. It's the same thing. I don't see a problem having a longer camera lasting longer than 20 years, so long you keep using it. You know, you don't want to let it having fungus and mold growing inside the elements and things like that. I mean, the lenses. So that should be fine. And if Toneh says you should buy only heavy glass and €5,000 cameras, and people will completely give up because they can't afford it. Well, That's another thing though, isn't it? And people forget about one thing about Micro Four Third is that they are relatively affordable compared to other formats. And it's true because they use less glass, they use less things, and they are basically, if you compare like for like, I know people keep saying that, you know, the M1 Mark III, the M1X is expensive. You know, you can buy a full frame for it. But look, that 1,500 quid you buy on the M1 Mark III compared to, you know, 1,200 bucks for A7. Well, one is a plastic body, not weather seal, compared to like a proper professional magnesium full metal built like IPX1 weather seal cameras. You know, you can't really compare like in terms of that. And you can compare maybe lesser camera like the EM10, for instance. But you don't try to compare things like this. It just really annoys me sometimes. Well, Akshay, hello there, and you got some comments here, of course. I think problem is the very few of the YouTube camera tech communities of photographers in the artist sense. Yes, I can't think of a single photo from a famous photographer that I have judged based on sharpness and bokeh. These are qualities judged purely by photo tech community. Gear should allow you to capture the moments and stories. I'm convinced that the route is a better photography. Yes, indeed, and this is I keep pushing the community forward, and every time I say something online and when I do live stream, whether it's going to be here on Facebook or on my YouTube, I try to do that to the community, to friends. To now we have a really lovely community now in my live stream. So it's really good that people are now starting to see slowly that the you know, it's not just about gear. You know, like I mentioned, like when you go into competition, how often do you get bonus point because you use a better gear? Not really. It's all about your photograph. It's all about what you create ultimately, and how they want to see your vision, how you tell the stories and things like that. Nothing to do with your lens, nothing to do with your camera. And they are just really the tools for you to capture those shots. Of course, you know, certain features may allow you to do a little bit better, for instance, but that's still not the 100% decision just because you're using better gears. In fact, what is a better gear? I don't even know. And Ivan saying that thank you very much for the answer. Totally right, of course. Thank you very much. Yes, indeed. I mean, I hope the photography is going to be bright in the future. That's what I say. And you are speaking. I don't use Olympus, but again, there is room for everyone. I don't worry about what you sound. You speak it very well, positive and to the point, truthful. Thank you, Ian. Thank you. Yeah, it's how I feel about it. You know, and I'm a photographer. You know, I may be representing Olympus, but I'm a photographer. I'm a professional. I go there and create and do my job. I earn my living from it. That's what that matters, right? You know, as an artist, you really want to create your vision. You want to do something that makes you happy. And if your photography is your passion, you shouldn't feel negative about anything. You should be very happy that you can still use your camera to create something. And this is something I believe is the truth. And it's the essence of photography. That if you really continue that path, I'm pretty sure you'll be a master very, very soon. And don't continue like being hammered down by other people talking about that what gear you use. I'm not just talking about Micro Four Third yet. Don't get annoyed by people saying that you use lesser gear than them. You know, don't even get to that level. I've been through that many times in my career. Even though I use less expensive, smaller gears at a wedding. When other people were like having bigger, more expensive stuff, you know, the Uncle B and Uncle A in the wedding, you know, they always have money, more money than I am. And so what? You know, like they don't capture the same photographs as I did. So I'll let the photographer do the talking. And all right, hi Jimmy, I'm satisfied with the user 4/3 Microsoft for years. I was about to buy the new body and 2 new lens. However, since the upgrade from Olympus are more software based, and now also the message is possible at sale, and well, to be honest, I'm not here to decide for you, and frankly, I personally think actually the software development is actually more important than the actual physical hardware development. The reason I say that now is because you can see how much smartphone, you keep saying that smartphone is killing the market, yeah, but that's something that I think the whole overall camera industry should be aware of it, and hopefully they're listening too. And seriously, you see the development of smartphone photography over the years, and why they are dominating it. Not just because they are small, not just because they are there for you. but it's a software development. How intuitive now you can use it very easily, very quickly. And also the technology, they managed to squeeze out of that tiny little sensors, the fake bokeh. Okay, you may call it fake, but to a lot of people, that's more than enough. And there might be night mode to do like longer exposures. And I know like a lot of stuff that I mentioned is already happening in the Olympus world, but in general, I think software development could potentially propel digital photography further into the areas that we haven't seen yet. And people are still kind of stuck with the optical designs, still really stuck with the physics and also other elements such as the mechanical designs, the advancement of mechanical. How much faster can I push the frame rate per second in a mechanical shutter? They're still really punching it, and but there are a lot of things you can do in technology, not just hardware, but also software. Like these two should go hand in hand really well. And it's witnessed now by what they can do with smartphone, and that's why I think that the camera industry should be listening and really start taking notes of to see what software people are doing to the latest crop of smartphone seen about 2 or 3 years ago. And this is not going to stop. You can see smartphone, the technology, software engineering is continuing to improve over time. And this may be, we haven't seen a lot of stuff yet. The LiDAR sensors, depth sensors and everything like that. This is something that maybe at one day can be utilized in other digital cameras. So why not? This could be something to look forward to. It's the future of photography, right? And I'm still using the Mark 1 due to budget reasons, but never had a complaint about the quality. Yes, this is something you have to understand exactly what I always tell you about. You have to understand yourself as a photographer. You have to understand, if you're a professional, you have to understand what your clients needs, and also understand them as what they are. To me as well, like you, Chris, my clients never ever complains about the quality of my photos. Never. Look, I use other formats. I use medium format. I use full frame. I don't. I now use Micro Four Thirds. Never ever got a complaint from people. People buy your service as a photographer because of your vision, because what you can create. And also to a lot of people, they're not educated enough to technically to understand pixels, to understand a lot of the stuff that many people may pick on. So like I think it's the visual, it's also the aesthetic that you present to your clients is what that matters. Your creativity, your vision, and that's what they're paying you for, right? All this money they really paying you into your pocket is all because of your visions and your creativity more than anything else. So I wouldn't really think that is the drive down point when you're using a slightly lesser format, as people say. I just think that this is a silly thing to say. And I nearly bought Sony A6000 instead, but they are ugly brick. Handle like a cheap point and shoot. Lower, and Fuji also feel cheap. And no image stabilizing and blah blah blah. Yes, of course. The handling, I guess, is one of Olympus' strong point, right? Especially the EM1 series. The grips are really nice. There's something I completely love. It's all about ergonomics. Well, like I said, people got different hands. I got really small hands, so that's why I think the Olympus suit me quite well. And unless you've got huge hands, and then you might need a bigger cameras. But then again, this is also preference, right? Personal preferences. Depending what sort of feel. You need to feel the camera though as well. If you are like a driver, you need to feel the car. If you go racing, you need to go do a reviews. You need to feel the tool in front of you, making sure it kind of fits into your heart and your body and things like that. It's quite hard to describe though. If you use your camera every single day and for a number of hours a day, something that feels good in the hand is a godsend. I'm telling you that. Micro Four Thirds travel, medium form, professional. Well, everyone's full frame is the poor kid who can afford real cameras. I always like the way you put things, Roman. And Ian, I've been a Canon since I started, and I get the results I want. And the only move for me would be the medium format, of which I cannot afford. Yeah, but you're creating good stuff there, And Ian, I don't, I mean, if you're, just like the many, I really enjoy your photography. I don't see it in any sort of deficiencies anyway, and unless you really, really need those 100 megapixels, then you might want to, step up for resolution for bigger output. But this will be your needs though, it's rather than the camera is not performing well enough, and if I need to print constantly for billboards, if I have a lot of commercial clients, to need to do product stuff, then possibly I need to switch to medium format just because I need all those megapixels. But for a lot of stuff that I do, documentary, filmings, and other things, and I don't need that many megapixels. And in fact, I don't need other thing bigger just because I need to go location a lot. I need to shoot in locations. I'd rather have a smaller bag, smaller case, than having to have a porter or hire an assistant just to keep pulling a lot of stuff for me. That will be my case. I'd rather, just happy on my own, doing my things, and with less penalties on my back and shoulder. Okay, sorry the remark before we comment. Okay, let's see. I love Penef. Are you out on the street now? Or, oh no, I don't think you're talking to me now. Sorry, my program here doesn't allow me to see who's replying who. All I see is all the comments populating up on my thing, and so I may be answering the wrong thing, by the way. So Hackmet, it will need development again. So. Right, Ray, hello, good morning, Ray. And I think one of the main focus here is the image are being seen, and these days the social media and online more and more on iPads and smartphone, less and less in print. That's why the smartphone market is growing. While there will always be a dedicated camera system, we can only see how hard they are having to compete. Yeah, well but that's always been the case though, ever since social media become popular. And don't forget that before Mr. Jobs popularizing the smartphone photography, because he's heavily investing and also marketing, the iPhone can take great photographs. I know he's now not just iPhone, but everybody else. But what I'm saying is he kind of started the whole thing, and you can kind of see the same dip as the market sales globally. It peaked at 2010, but ever since, he's kind of retracted 80% until now. So like camera sales definitely not as glorious as what it was since 2010, but smartphone really came in about that sort of time. So the first iPhone came in at 2007, and then 3 years later, that's when the iPhone 4 started to come out, and people really are starting snapping because retina screen and everything, just people like suddenly like open their eyes. But that's what they do. And then social media, sharing, Instagram, everything starting to really popularizing, and but that's what it is. These are the replacement of point and shoot, right? And don't forget, all the camera manufacturers out there, all the brands, they're bread and butter. They weren't from the main professional or high-end cameras. They were all from the point and shoot. And this is the market they really completely lost to the smartphone. Not so much about the bigger cameras. Look at Olympus used to sell little point and shoot cameras, the rugged TG stuff, And then Canon, their point and shoot was so popular. So is Nikon, all the other Panasonic. They all did really, really well too. And but then when all those disappear, that's when the sales starting to plummet. There's no wonder why. But then you can think about a lot of people still, when they really want something slightly better quality, will still come back to the proper cameras. But the thing is a cycle though. They have to first get into photography first. So at the moment, the gateway isn't from the interchangeable cameras or SLRs or anything else. It's smartphone. That's the gateway to photography or videography, for that matter. So this is how they look at it now. So this is something that they will go first. If they really got into it and start finding the deficiency of the smaller formats, they will think that I need bigger stuff. Then that's now they're starting about proper cameras. I mean, I get asked so many times on a daily basis about, coming up from smartphone, what should I be using? So I see this all constantly. So people are still coming back. But the thing is now that they don't buy point and shoot cameras, and that's where it hurts a lot of companies. They're relying on the sales of these little cameras for them to fund the bigger stuff. But they're losing that. That means they have to kind of somehow find the money somewhere to do it. And the thing is the competition is now so fierce, and it's becoming very, very difficult for them. And that's another reason why I think the software development side of that I mentioned earlier would be really kind of maybe worth investing, because you don't need toolings, you don't need a lot of stuff, and you just need to program something. And then, so that would be an interesting thing to see. And hope there will still be choices in 10 years' time. Hope so. I hope that it's not just Sony, whoever that guy was, I can't remember now. And yeah, Ian. Yeah, exactly. You know your needs. So of course, you exactly know what what your requirements are for cameras, and like just like anybody else that I'm suggesting, if you know exactly what you need, whether it's going to be a Micro Four Third, whether it's going to be Olympus, whether it's going to be whatever format you want to decide to APS-C. A full frame, you have to weigh yourself out. Exactly what do you want to achieve, what do you want to be as a photographer, exactly what you're capturing, for instance. And I mean, like, if a lot of wildlife photographers, like why it's becoming so popular in recent years is actually all because of Micro Four Third. To be frank, I know a lot of people who want to be want to be wildlife photographer, want to be a bird capturer, capturing bird in flight stuff, but in the past, the only way to capture those stuff is you have to have big, massive, expensive stuff. And I'm talking about like Canon 1D stuff, Nikon D5 and that kind of like territories, yeah, because they got better trackings and stuff. Then they have to buy, what, £7,000-8,000 worth of big lenses like 500 f5.6. These are massive lenses and also heavy. You need to be like quite a bulky guy to be able to handle those stuff. You can put on the gimbals and stuff, the tripod and gimbal, but that's not the point, right? It's still expensive hobby. But nowadays, because of Micro Four Third, you can actually have the same thing now for half the money. And that's why the reason I keep saying it, people don't believe me, but I think Canon, by responding now, introducing f11 lenses, because they're trying to recapture that market. They want to allow people to have the longer focal length, but in smaller sizes that will go hand in hand with the RS system, the mirrorless system. And because they see their potentials there, and they also see that the market's being lost to the lesser format, such as Micro Four Third. So this is something that I believe Micro Four Third, they did a lot of good. If you actually think deeper, what they actually enable a lot of photographers out there who couldn't previously do something that they couldn't afford, or they couldn't even hold the cameras properly, or people who just don't not as mobile as other photographers out there. So they are actually satisfying a community that people don't usually think about, and because a majority of people these days who buy digital cameras are usually taking flowers, cities, and people, blur everything out in the background kind of thing. This is something that what they do on a daily basis. But this is what popular, and that's what popular. But this is not my stuff. But anyway, so this, you kind of get my idea. Yeah, notification on your live feed, perhaps name pops out and extra icon. No problem, Ian. Yeah, give me a shout, and then I will be able to help you out for sure. Not a problem at all. And let's see anything else. Sony is the only real winner here. You can see how many cameras and how many smartphones. So they don't care if they own smartphones. The crap software isn't the market leader. Oh dear me. Yeah, I have no idea, to be honest, whether this is going to continue the trend. And but I can tell you that right now that all the companies, like I mentioned earlier, is very easy to find because all of them are publicly trading companies. You just go and Google financial result of whatever brand you're interested in, they all come out. And I can guarantee you, you'll be shocked for most of them. And I try not to expose a lot of the stuff here because it's up to you if you want to read about it. It's really not my thing to do. I'm not a financial guy, and but if you really want to see all this stuff and start comparing them, if you have some spare time, I'm pretty sure that it will come as a surprise to you. And in fact, what Olympus result is actually not as shocking, compared to some others. I'm telling you that now. And so anyway, so that's all good. It's been a longer stream than I thought, actually. And, but so many of you tune in, so I'll just talk a little bit more than usual. And let's just see a last couple of comments here. Mark, serious camera market is returning to the sales scenes in film SLR days. In other words, similar numbers of professionals and enthusiasts now to then. And I guess now, people who want to get into like buying interchangeable cameras or DSLRs are those who are genuinely interest in photography, and that's good, right? That's really good, and because in a way, this process, this consolidation that we're experiencing now is is a filter to people who are just want to dabble with photography and things like that as a pastime, or maybe some consumer just have too much money to spend and things like that. So I guess it may be a good thing for overall. So the market will shrink, will be smaller compared to what it was before. Like I mentioned, that the smartphone is not going anywhere, and they will continue to erode the remaining market in the point and shoot market, although that it probably doesn't exist anymore. We probably still got about 1 or 2% there, but then I'm pretty sure the smartphone is going to clean them all up. So all the point and shoot markets be completely disappear, and it'll be smartphone only. But then again, like I mentioned, people will soon realize that they can only do so much with the smartphone, and they will eventually have to invest into a system. So that's when something like my Olympus should be coming back. I'm just joking. Well, hopefully that will be the case, because you need a company that with innovative features and technologies, a computational photography, which now the smartphone user are very accustomed to. So traditional spec only companies should be a little bit worried about the progress that they've made over the years, because they really start to have to wake up and start looking into software development, and this is how I feel about the overall things. And but again, this is only my opinion, because I think a lot of modern photographers, especially Instagrammer, or the younger generation now, will see the advantage of potential software advancement to the actual camera technologies itself. So this is something to look forward to. I think I'll be quite excited to see if anybody would come up with something like that. Olympus is already really good at computation, like live bulk and live composite, live views, and this sort of thing is really genuinely really cool stuff. And that is something that I'm pretty sure if you use that, you'll really appreciate it, how good and how popular and how easy to do. So I love that. I really love that, and I want to see more of that, across the board for the whole community there. That would be good. That would be benefit to all the photographers, not just the newcomers, but even existing photographers like myself. I never really do a lot of long exposure stuff, but now because of light bulb and stuff, occasionally I dabble on it to do light painting. Fantastic. Right, okay, stuff. Okay, even I find it so difficult. Ralph, I'm not sure what you're referring to. I think he's referring to a probably previous comment here. Anyway, so I'm going to end my stream now, because it has reached the end of my time, and it's actually 12 o'clock. It's 1 hour stream, which is definitely a lot longer than usual. But thank you for tuning in, and don't forget, I'm going to have the same stream every morning between Monday to Friday, 11 to 11:30 a.m. BST. Yes, British summertime. It is British summer. Doesn't look that good outside though. Anyway, so it's all good. And yeah, stay tuned for my tomorrow's stream, and also Wednesday. Remember, Wednesday I have my YouTube stream, which is a kind of bigger stage. I usually conduct a longer, more in-depth discussion, usually about 2 hours long, which a little bit too long to my. But I you can see I like talking, right? I'm an Olympus talker. Right, thank you, and yeah, I'm staying positive. Thank you, Brad. I hope that you guys are too. Don't worry about too much about these negativities outside surrounding us. We got enough already around this world. Let's be creative, be positive. Just get your camera out and do something crazy. That's I would suggest though. Yeah, I think this is the essence of photography. Let us say that again. Don't worry about these all these rumors, and people keep talking about the death this and death that, and we got enough of this George Floyd stuff already as well, like seriously. I just want the whole world come together as unity, just come and do crazy better stuff. Let's better the world together. The photography is only part of it, and let's do our part, share the positivity energies out there, and get it done. Excellent stuff. Right, thank you, and I'll see you guys all tomorrow once again, 11 o'clock. If not, I'll see you at some point. I know our path will cross again. Yeah. Right, I'll see you all later, and have fun, and be well, and stay safe, of course. Yeah, see you later. Bye for now.